Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome everyone to the Lawndale City Council for Monday, July the 20th. I'm going to ask the city clerk, assistant city clerk, to give us the roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Suarez.
Here.
Councilmember Osmo.
Here.
Councilmember Reed.
Here.
Councilmember Kearney.
Here.
Mayor Pro Miles.
Here.
All members present.
Okay, thank you for that. Next, we're going to have Mayor Pro Tem Suarez to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Madam Pro Tem.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem. Let's have our public safety report. Let's hear from Captain Allen.
This is Lieutenant Chris Leo. I'm standing in for Captain Allen.
Lieutenant Chris Leo, how are you?
Good, yourself?
Pretty well, thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. I am presenting the public safety report for July 6th through July 19th. On May 5th, deputies responded to 14922 Hawthorne Boulevard regarding a call for service where a male victim had been stabbed in the arm. Deputies were unable to locate the male suspect at that time. Both were homeless males. On July 13th, deputies located the male suspect and arrested him for an assault with a deadly weapon. Also on July 13th, deputies responded to 147th Street and Hawthorne Boulevard regarding a call where two homeless males had been arguing over an iPad, which the suspect threw down and broke, and that suspect then swung a bat at the victim, missing him. Deputies located the suspect and arrested him for an assault with a deadly weapon and vandalism. On July 14th, deputies responded to the Best Western Hotel regarding a vandalism call. Hotel security reported a male had just shattered the front door glass with a walking cane. Deputies located the male suspect and his cane and arrested him for vandalism. The suspect was not an occupant of the hotels. Aside from the last incident, there have not been any other incidents at the Project Room C hotels. We are continually monitoring the situation at those hotels. As mentioned in the last council, the crime rate is relatively low in thefts and burglaries. So vehicle thefts are on the rise all over the county. Criminals are taking advantage of the COVID-19 situation while citizens are inside their home trying to protect themselves from the virus. Citizens can be vigilant by ensuring their cars are fully locked with the windows rolled entirely up, setting the alarm if so equipped, prior to leaving it parked for an extended period. This concludes my report. I'm happy to entertain any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you, Captain Leo. Are there any questions of the Lieutenant's report?
Hey, Robert, it's Jim. Hey, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir.
I believe I heard you say that the homeless individuals in the crime report you just stated were not residents of the hotel. However, they were in proximity to the hotel. Was there any other connection why they were in proximity to the actual hotels?
From the report I gathered, no, I couldn't just except for the proximity that they were.
It was just a coincidence. They weren't like friends of any of these people staying there that we know of?
It's a possibility.
Okay. Just curious. All right, thank you.
Okay, are there any further questions of the Lieutenant's report? And then I'm going to thank the Lieutenant for his public safety report. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is oral communications. Let's have oral communications by the Assistant City Clerk if we have any.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have two public comments, and I'll go ahead and read them verbatim. The first one is from Abram, Lawndale resident. In the June June 1st, 2020 City Council meeting, I stated canceling fireworks this year would require courage by the mayor and City Council to challenge the fireworks manufacturers that contribute the most to the council body. The lives of every Lawndale resident should be foremost over the nonprofit groups. Under the city's emergency order, the mayor and City Council would have had the ability to stop the sales this year. At that time, those who applied for a stand had only been granted conditional approval. The city took no action, although final plans were not even in place, and some council members were not even sure fireworks were proceeding in Lawndale. So what were the repercussions for allowing fireworks sales during the COVID-19 crisis? It was disastrous. On July 4th, the entire arsenal of carcinogenic illegal fireworks were unleashed consistently for over 4 hours. If you were able to get through the sheriff's department, you were hung up on with barely enough time to provide a location. At the last council meeting, it sounded like the captain said they had 42 calls for illegal fireworks. Maybe he meant 42 an hour. The measly 13 citations issued were one of the lowest numbers in recent years and indicate inadequate staffing this year. Although we survived July 4th, Lawndale continues to see the aftermath of that day with COVID-19 spreading throughout the city. Driving through the city last night, I saw partying groups without masks with their fireworks. Across the street from me was a party with no masks shooting off safe and sane fireworks. In the entire month of June, there were 74 new cases of COVID-19 in Lawndale. Although that was bad enough, that is nothing compared to what happened in July. The number of cases in Lawndale went from 200 on June 30th to 377 as of July 18th, with 177 new cases that were only partially through the month. This is more than double from June. July 15th saw the biggest spike going from 327 to 356, 29 new cases in one day. Lawndale now has one of the highest case rates in the South Bay. Instead of 4 last months, the number of deaths is now 8. According to county website, the only location in Lawndale with the outbreak is a nursing home with 9 cases, but these are not new cases for July. Although the council will spin it otherwise, the rapid rise in these numbers after July 4th must be at least partially attributed to the council's inaction for the allowance of safe and sane fireworks. Memorial Day weekend did not see such a rise. According to the City of Lawndale's website, one of the goals of our elected officials is to provide cost-effective quality safety services and facilities that result in a safe environment from citizens to pursue professional and personal activities. The event in July questioned whether that was even consideration when allowing the sale of fireworks this year. Second public comment is from Pam London, Lawndale resident. There are still questions that have gone unanswered. Has anyone asked the powers that be whether or not Lawndale no-tels will become permanent housing? Where are all the new faces coming from? Are there any of these people known to have been asked to leave the no-tels for one reason or another and now put out on the streets? What is the exit strategy for the no-tels when the threat of COVID diminishes? What are the contracts end dates for project room cases? Have they been extended to when? How many more COVID cases from the no-tels? What is the real purpose of a Lawndale employee going to the no-tel in person? Weren't others in charge of the residents? Were our employees and their families of no concern? What about our sheriffs? We are continually told that there has not been any criminal reports. On July 4th, how many extra sheriff's cars were on duty in Lawndale? How many black and whites? Unmarked. How could there have been only 10 citations? Where we were told there were only 42 calls. How did they count? What about all of the hang-ups? Considering my home was responsible for at least 5 calls, I believe the count is more like 42 per every 5 minutes. Will Lawndale follow other cities and begin citations for people who choose not to wear a mask? With many businesses ordered to close again, we delay street sweeping tickets further, street sweep ticketing further? And finally, do you realize that allowing fireworks this year probably contributed to a growing number of COVID cases in Lawndale? Any regrets from the council members? Was the sale of fireworks so important that the risk of COVID needed to be ignored? And that ends public comment.
Okay, thank you for reading the public comments. Are there any responses? Let's start with Councilman Osborne, if you have anything you want to reply to.
No.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Reed.
Good evening. So appreciate those being submitted. Do have a quick comment. There was not a shortage of our patrols. As mentioned previously, these guys are firing off in the backyards. They're smart to what's happening. They know what it takes to get their citation. So it continues to be a challenge for the deputies. And then I'll ask the city manager to comment on the county plan update for the exit strategy.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Regarding the exit strategy, there have been meetings set up through the Contract Cities Association with the county to discuss just that. So far, the county has essentially told us what they have been saying for a while now, that the exit strategy is to find permanent housing or temporary housing or family housing for all of the occupants of the hotels. They have transitioned from, what they tell us is that they've transitioned from trying to secure additional project room key hotels to working with case managers for each of the occupants at the hotels in Lawndale and around the county to help them find housing. So they are looking at existing shelters now. They're looking at some other options, including potential private housing options from apartment managers, or even other private properties that are willing to take on these homeless folks, and they'll be paid by the county. So there are a number of options that are being looked at, but end of the day, that's where they are for right now. Just looking to find housing outside of the project room key hotels.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Kearney.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have two comments to our speakers. Speaker number one, there were 13 citations this year and 125 pounds of illegal fireworks taken. 13 is up from last year. I wish that he or she should read their notes from last year. And on the project room keys, city manager, do we have any updates on extensions in the hotels? And if there are, what are they?
Yes, thank you, Councilmember Kearney. As I had mentioned to you through a communication with the council last week, the county is seeking to extend their project room key operations at the Best Western through October of this year. And for the Baymont Hotel, they're looking to extend that to February 2021. Now, for the Baymont Hotel, that would be outside of the original agreement that was signed with the hotel, with the Baymont. And if such an extension happens, that'll be as a result of a mutual agreement between the Baymont Hotel and the county. At this point, we've been told that that's something that's being worked on, but we haven't heard whether or not that's been finalized yet.
Okay, Robert, one more question. Is there any legal recourse we can do with the Baymont before they sign that contract? I'll ask city attorney with this one. Any recourse we can do before they sign extension? It's a brand new contract, I believe, isn't it?
It's a brand new contract, but not really. They are private parties entitled to engage in contracts as they see appropriate.
So we can't pull their business permit or special use permit, business license, or?
I mean, if we did that like other cities have tried, we would be sued and we would likely lose, like other cities have.
Likely lose.
I mean, you never.
Norwalk yet, have we?
I'm sorry?
Have we heard from Norwalk yet?
No, that's not a business license issue. They did a moratorium and their hearing is tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm done, Robert.
So after we hear or review the Norwalk decision, we'll more than likely convene a closed session to see what way would that give us to move in either direction?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, this is Kevin Chen, City Manager. Yes, and that's the reason why there wasn't a closed session on your agenda for tonight. We were anticipating some type of decision being made at tomorrow's hearing with Norwalk, and so we'll convene another closed session for your next meeting, your first meeting in August.
Okay, very good.
Mayor, one more question. Okay, if we do that till
Yes, sir.
August 3rd, is there a chance Baymont and the county will sign their contract by then, before then? Or do we have to call a special city council closed session?
If there's a need for a special council meeting, we'll let you guys know right away.
Okay.
Is the contract self-executing, meaning that it just automatically extended if they do nothing, or do they actually have to enter into a new agreement?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, it's Kevin Chen again. It would have to be a new contract. So the original contract was for a 3-month period and then for 3 one-month extensions. So
Right.
anything beyond that would require a brand new contract.
This wouldn't be the 3 one-month extensions?
Correct. The extension that they're looking for with the Baymont Hotel would be outside of that 6-month period. So it would be a new contract.
Okay, but not the Best Western, because that would be the 3 1-month.
Correct. That's correct.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Is that all for you, Councilman?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, let's hear from Mayor Pro Tem Suarez.
I have nothing to add.
Okay, thank you. I want to thank the speakers that sent in their comments as well. We do understand the rise of COVID is, not, of course, just in the city of Lawndale, but LA County is right at the edge of being in the red, if you will, in terms of having to close completely down before. So everyone do their part, including, the social distancing, wearing masks, when you're around crowds or what have you. I think that will help out the spread. And so hopefully we won't have another shutdown, because that's going to be devastating to our business community. So we definitely have to do our part as individuals and as a city to help slow down the spread. I'm not so sure if I can contribute the increase in COVID to the display of fireworks, whether it be legal or illegal fireworks. Most of the fireworks, as you know, that gave us headaches were the illegal fireworks. You can make the case that if you didn't have the illegal fireworks, the safe and sane fireworks, that you would have a reduction in illegal fireworks as well, and that probably has some validity to it. But at the same time, given that everyone in LA County, just about, not every city, but it seemed like every city was, a war zone, I don't see that not having fireworks, illegal fireworks, would have contributed to such a degree that we wouldn't have people discharging fireworks and therefore contributing to the spread of COVID-19. If in fact you can draw the correlation between the two. I don't know if such can be done. Depending on who you ask. Obviously, if you're not social distancing, that could contribute, obviously. But allowing people to discharge fireworks, and a lot of these fireworks are being discharged with the same people who are in the same household. So if you're in the same household, but yet you discharging fireworks, it seems to suggest that whatever activity you're doing, whether it's fireworks or not, you're going to be subject to COVID-19 in the same way that you would just by going on with your daily business in your household. Now, if you had a public display, which a lot of the public displays were canceled, certainly here in Lawndale, we didn't have public displays, and that's one thing. So I'm not really sure how much weight to give the discharge of fireworks with COVID-19. Surely a lot of people were out and about at other social events, parties, and things of that nature, and may have contributed to the spread. But at any rate, I want to thank the speakers for their comments. Moving on, that will close our public comments and comments from the council. We are now at item S, which is the consent calendar. There's 6 items on the consent calendar. What is the pleasure of this body concerning such?
Mayor, this council. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
Oh,
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you. I just had a question on one of the items, number 3, regarding the local roadway safety plan. I was wondering when the time frame starts for that, seeing as we're going to be monitoring traffic flow, and currently I don't think it's indicative of what we normally see, especially with the schools being out. So that was my question to staff.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. And this is Kahono, the interim director. To answer the question, the LRSP is actually the project only doing the inventory of all of the signs within the whole city. The sign means like a stop sign, no parking signs, any regulatory signs, as well as signs that mounted on the traffic signals. They have to do the inventory as overall the whole city, so that at least it can be identified which signs that are really outdated and does not meet the MUTCD and need to be replaced. And with that inventory, eventually we should be able to apply any grant in the future to do the replacement of those signs. So it has nothing to do with the traffic, only the inventory only. And at the same time, the scope of the grant also doing the daily traffic count on certain intersections. Mostly it's the majority of the intersections within the city. And that's the scope of this work that we are contemplating under this LRSP grant.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, with that indicates what is the pleasure of the body concerning the consent calendar?
Mayor, this is Councilman Kearney. I move to
approve the consent calendar?
That's it too. Yeah.
Okay, so it's been motion been made by Kearney that we approve the consent calendar. Is there a second?
This is Councilman Reed. I'll second.
Councilman Reed has seconded the motion. Is there any debate or discussion on the motion? Seeing none, would the council please vote on the consent calendar? Let's have the roll call of the vote.
For the consent calendar, Mayor Pro Tem Suarez,
Yes.
Councilmember Osborne,
Yes.
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Councilmember Kearney,
Yes.
Mayor Paul Miles.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, sir. Let's move to item 7 under administration concerning the cancellation of the Blues Festival. Let's have the staff report, please.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. The Lawndale Blues and Jazz Music Festival made its debut in Lawndale in September 2003 at the Lawndale Civic Center Plaza. In 2015, the third annual event was moved to Jane Addams Park to take advantage of a setting that is more conducive to a music festival. In 2017, the event was renamed Lawndale Blues Festival. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic and ongoing safer-at-home and shelter-in-place orders as directed by federal, state, and county officials, the city has canceled most community services programs and events until further notice. However, essential programs for seniors, such as senior congregate meals delivery and Meals on Wheels programs, have continued. On June 15, 2020, the inaugural Lawndale Music Festival, scheduled for July 18, 2020, was canceled due to the pandemic. Although an alternate date of Sunday, September 13, 2020 was proposed, the event was canceled entirely. Now that the event is fewer than 60 days away, it's believed that we've missed our window of opportunity to functionally market and advertise the event. You know, even if we have a magical turnaround here and all this the COVID-19 thing disappears, we just really wouldn't have enough time to functionally advertise the event. Per Los Angeles County Department of Public Health and its revised order of July 14, 2020, the health officer orders the closure of higher risk activities, including quote unquote all events and gatherings. At this point, no money has been spent on the 8th annual Lawndale Blues Festival, nor have any financial commitments been made. If the event is canceled by the city, the FY 2021 budget will realize a savings of $9,500. Staff recommends that the City Council cancel the 8th annual Lawndale Blues Festival scheduled for September 12, 2020 at Jane Addams Park. And that concludes my report. I'm available for any questions.
Okay, thank you for that report. Are there any questions of the report?
Robert, Jim.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have a question for staff. I guess Mike can answer this. Maybe Kevin could chime in. In light of what we saw in the news recently, that even the Rose Parade had been canceled, so it looks like everything for the rest of the year that has a public gathering is done. And just being no exception. Has staff also thought out a recommendation for future events such as the Halloween Haunt and the Angel Tree? Because this is just that year where everything is done. I just don't know how far ahead have we proceeded to look at. Any answer?
Yes. Councilmember Osborne, it's Kevin Chun again. We've sort of taken a step-by-step approach to looking at community events in terms of canceling events or postponing events. We didn't want to, on a wholesale basis, just cancel everything. It didn't appear that that's what the council wanted to do. So, we've just taken a step-by-step approach. However, if the council would like to make a decision to go ahead and cancel events through the rest of the year, staff is willing to do that. We'll certainly, be willing to do that for you.
Well, I'm also wondering, how far, it's like the unknown answer, obviously, we just don't know. Has there been any indication from the county how far into 2021 their orders are extended? I haven't seen anything specific, but it looks like 2021 is potentially on the chopping block at this point.
Yeah, the county hasn't really made any statements about, looking that far ahead. However, what they've, where we are today is a step backwards from where we were 2 months ago. So if that's any kind of indication, we're likely to be living in this sort of COVID-19 reality for, at least a little while. I don't think anybody really knows for sure what that means or how long that's going to be at this point.
Yeah, I could see that. Driving blind. And then one other question or thing that I'd like to see staff sort of brainstorm and come with us. I don't think it's too hard to figure out, but what is the, if all things are canceled through the end of this year, how much savings is that, or how much gain is that to our budget? Because we know we're in a crunch anyway, and what positive effect that does with our bottom line by canceling everything.
Sure. We can certainly put an analysis together and let the council know.
Yeah, that'd be good. Okay, I yield.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments on item 7? So what is sound like we don't have a choice here. So, but just for the record, what is the pleasure of the body concerning the cancellation of the Blues Festival for this year?
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilman Reed.
Councilman Reed.
Make a motion to approve staff's recommendation for cancellation.
Okay, so the motion's been made by Reed that we approve the staff's recommendation to cancel the Blues Festival.
Mayor, this is Captain Bernie.
Okay. and it's seconded by Councilmember Pat Kearney. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'm going to ask the Assistant City Clerk to, well, we can take this by unanimous consent. How about that, Madam Attorney?
A voice vote, please.
You want one? Okay, let's have a voice vote.
Well, actually, this isn't a resolution. Actually, this is just, you're right. This can be like a receive and file, so it can be unanimous consent.
Okay, without any objection, we'll, under unanimous consent, we will receive and file this recommendation.
That'd be given. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, let's move to item number 8, concerning record retention schedule. Let's have the report.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. On November 5th, 2019, the city entered into agreement with Gladwell Governmental Services to provide records management consulting services. Subsequent meetings took place with each department to update and refine their records schedules and were ultimately approved by each department. The main objective was to overhaul our existing citywide records retention schedule by analyzing our current schedules for legal sufficiency and best practices, identify vital records, and customize each schedule to reflect our organizational structure. The goals were to provide a clear and comprehensive record management program for staff, to eliminate unnecessary duplication and redundancy, ensure safekeeping of historical and vital records, better utilize space in city facilities, and avoid storage costs that can be quite expensive, and also reduce potential risk to the city. Staff at this time is recommending City Council approve the updated citywide records retention schedules, as well as a new streamlined routine records destruction policy. The City Attorney's Office has reviewed and approved the updated records retention schedules and policy. This concludes my report. I'd be happy to take any questions you may have.
All righty. Are there any questions of the Assistant City Clerk's report? Okay. Seeing none. Okay, I don't know why that is the case. I don't know why there's an echo if you guys are hearing one. I don't have any other thing open, like another, like the internet or anything open. Okay, we'll be finished with it in just a second anyway. So what is the pleasure of this? Thanks for bringing that to my attention. What is the pleasure of this body concerning item number 8?
Mayor, this is Councilman Kearney. I move to approve staff recommendation.
Okay, so the motion has been made by Councilman Pat Kearney that we approve the staff recommendation. Is there a second? Second by Mayor Pro Tem. Yes, second by Mayor Pro Tem Suarez. Is there any discussion or debate on the motion? Seeing none, will the council please vote on item 8? Let's have the roll call.
On item number 8, Mayor Pro Tem Suarez.
Yes.
Councilmember Osborne.
Yes.
Councilmember Reed.
Yes.
Councilmember Kearney.
Yes.
Mayor Pullen Miles.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right. Thank you, Les. Okay. Item number 9, concerning the purchase of a sales agreement. Let's have the staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. The report before you tonight is for the for the purchase and sales agreement for the piece of right-of-way adjacent to 16525 Prairie Avenue. And the exhibit is shown on attachment number 2 in your report. And on November 20th, 2018, the City Code Enforcement initiated court case on the property for an unpermitted building renovations with no plans nor permit. At the same time, the city found out that the wrought iron fence that was constructed on the property is constructed within the city right-of-way. In order to resolve the problem with the installation of the wrought iron, the city staff recommended the piece of land inside the fence to be sold to the property owner and merged as his own property. and the size of the land is approximately 1,100 square feet. And the appraisal was ordered, and the final report was received by the city on February 24th, 2020. And the appraisal of the land is $60,000. And staff and the property owner negotiated the purchase of the land for $50,000. As part of the transfer of the land, staff needs to process and review all the legal descriptions, processing on the lot merger, as well as processing the purchase sales agreement. And the total fee for staffing is $10,000. And the property owner will pay to the city in the total amount of $60,000. And staff recommend that the city council approve the purchase agreement. And with that, I conclude my staff report and will be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you for that report. Are there any questions of the report?
I have a question, Mayor.
Okay. Yes, sir.
They're going to do all the unpermitted work, correct? Inside and out, besides the fencing?
I can answer that, Kahono. I can answer that for you.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor and Council, this is Sean, Director of Community Development. We're working with the applicant. We've been working with them for about a year to finalize and get all the outstanding work completed, including the final touches on the paint job on the outside. Councilman Osborne had mentioned the garish colors about a year ago. So we've been working with the applicant on the fencing as well as the reinstallation of the parkway landscaping, as well as the asphalting and the striping. And then there were some things done on the interior as well that we're going to be, they need to get permitted on the inside.
So before this sales is final, this work will be done, correct?
Well, if the sales goes through, we still have the restrictive use covenant that's on the part of the staff report that we've mentioned.
Okay.
So that's going to still tie them in. So even if the sale went through, I don't think that would hinder us from, because we still have the open code enforcement action on it, and we're still working with the applicant to finalize those couple things. It's just a matter, Councilman Kearney, of getting a permit for the windows. I think there was an extra room. We're asking them to open up the wall. There were some other little minor things they've agreed to.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask this question. I know it says in your report that you don't contemplate expanding access to the roads. So are we saying that there is no opportunity for the city to actually use this parcel?
And that's not at this point.
It's just a parking lot.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, this is Sean again. Staff searched all the records and the resolutions. We went through for a couple of weeks. We could not find any minutes that detailed or provided any background information on why the city had taken that area of that piece of land. We're not sure because this roadway was built to ultimate width years ago, meaning the final alignment of that road. So we're not sure why that had happened. We could not find any information and nothing in the minutes, unfortunately.
Hey, Robert.
Okay.
Robert, it may be because that's the street that goes under the 405 freeway. There could have been some historic thinking about widening it or doing something with it in conjunction with the freeway a long time ago, prior to 1962.
Okay. No, I was just wanting to make sure we didn't need it for anything or see the fence. Okay, that was just my question. I was just wondering. Okay. Are there any other questions on item 9 concerning the sale or the purchase, I should say? Purchase and sale. Seeing none, what is the pleasure of this body concerning item 9?
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilman Reed. I'll make a motion to approve the sale of that property.
Mayor, this Councilman. Mayor, this Councilman, I'll second.
Okay, so the motion's been made by Councilmember Reed and seconded by Councilmember Kearney. Is there any discussion, a debate on the motion? Seeing none, I'm going to ask the Assistant City Clerk to conduct the vote.
For item 9, Mayor Pro Tem Suarez.
Yes.
Councilmember Osborne.
Yes.
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Councilmember Kearney,
Yes.
Mayor Pullen Miles.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, sir. Next item on our agenda, let's hear from the city manager's report.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I don't have any reports for you tonight. However, I just wanted to make one point of clarification regarding Project Room Key. The Best Western, we've been informed by the county that the Best Western Hotel, they are seeking an extension for those operations for 1 month through October 2020. So they began operations in April, and the 6-month agreement would be through September, but they're looking for, apparently they're just looking for a 1 month extension. So I just wanted to clarify that point.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Okay, next item. Let's hear from council members. Any events or meals, anything you want to share? Let's start with Councilmember Osborne.
No events. I just have comments at the end regarding the passing of the resolution.
Okay, very good. Thank you, sir. Councilmember Reed. Councilman, can you hear us?
Dan?
Yeah, it's a doggone mute button. Sorry about that. So, no particular events. Did meet with our CMT team to talk about transitions as things have been going through and get everybody on the same page in regards to activity. And I think we're fine from there. We'll keep moving on to the subject.
All right. Thank you. Councilmember Kearney.
I just have two things. I also attended the CMT team meeting. It was very interesting. And I want to know from, I think Marta's online, our TOT taxes due on the 30th. How the hotels, are they responding to you about online, on time, or they want extensions or what?
The calls that I got are from the 2 hotels that converted to the Project Room Key because we sent letters out requesting the TOT on those. Both hotels have called me. They requested extensions because they said basically that they have to file a reimbursement claim and it will come in after the due date. I did advise them that the due date is the end of this month and that they are responsible to pay on that date. And if they were going to request some type of waiver, that they would have to come to council specifically, but we're expecting it on the due date.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you. Let's hear from Mayor Pro Tem Suarez. Yes, ma'am.
I just had one thing I wanted to take a look at with regards to the outdoor dining. We could possibly look at what our fees are for that, and if we could look at possibly waiving them for the businesses that are struggling, expediting or somehow helping them out to make sure they can facilitate the outdoor.
I can answer that.
I'm losing you. Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor and Council, this is Sean, Director of Community Development. There is no fee associated with it, and we've been signing them off, right, when they come in pretty much. With the exception if they're parking in ADA areas, or I'm sorry, if they're setting up tables in ADA areas, we can't allow that. We have to get them to move them and relocate them. But for any outdoor dining, so far we've been working with them, and so is Public Works. And there is no fee associated with the outdoor dining. We developed a temporary use permit application, and it's free of charge.
Excellent. Thank you.
Hey, Sean. Sean, can I interject just a quick follow-up?
Yes,
are they allowed to relocate their ADA parking if it helps with the setup?
Yes, if they needed to do that, we would just it could complicate things and delay because we'd have to run it through as well as building and safety, and then we could run into a little bit of an issue because of you have to put the ADA parking stalls closest to the main entrance of the doors. So, but we're not averse to doing that. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Sean, can I, thank you, Madam Pro Tem. Can I piggyback on that? I know the order called for some restaurants and barbershops, et cetera, to close their indoor functions, and I've seen the restaurants move to outdoors. Those that have so far. I'm wondering, is there opportunities for the other businesses, as well as it may sound, like the barbershops? Are they allowed to, if obviously they can accommodate it, to move their operations doors so they're not totally closed?
Mr. Mayor, I just saw an email today. I'm off today, but I did check my emails, and it did the Department of Cosmetology and Barbering. They sent an email. I guess they have some guidelines. I have not reviewed them yet for outdoor servicing. So, I mean, we could work with everyone in the city that needs some kind of outdoor opportunities to continue operating. I mean, it's just that's the thing we have to do. We can work with them all. We already got a couple applications for some gyms as well, requesting it. So
okay, I would suggest that all those businesses that the governor mentioned in terms of their indoors operations, if they can do them outdoors, that we alert the businesses that we are willing to work with them to see if we can accommodate them moving their operations outdoors. Because they may or may not know to contact the city if it's found out if such could be done, like the barbershop.
Okay, I'll talk to I'll talk to Marla and and the city manager. We could probably send out another letter alerting the barbershops as well as other potential businesses that have been allowed to operate out if they've been closed down interior, and maybe look at an opportunity going outdoors.
Okay, very good. Which kind of raises the question is, when we had the first shutdown, why didn't they allow these businesses to operate outdoors the first time around, rather than closing them down for that time? But that's for the governor, I guess, to explain. Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you.
The only event I did attend the sanitation district a meeting that was pretty much routine business as usual, and also attended the League of Cities Zoom meeting, and that was pretty much business as usual. There was a couple of officers that we ratified their appointment to be on the executive committee, but there was nothing significant there at that meeting, but I attended anyway. And with that, that's all I have. So I know Jim wanted to adjourn and wanted a resident memory before we actually adjourn. So I'm going to swing it to Councilman Osborne to.
Yeah, thank you, Robert. Just briefly, the gentleman's name was Keith Krotzer, and wasn't a close friend of mine, but I did know him. He was a fellow vintage car owner and driver, and you may have seen him. He lived on the same street as City Hall on Buren, close to Green Avenue. He drove the orange Chevy. I think it was a 52. He passed away yesterday after a sudden onset of an illness. It wasn't COVID, but he succumbed yesterday, and I'd seen him around town for I don't know how many years driving that orange Chevy. And he's a nice guy. I talked to him a few times, but I learned from Mitch Maciel, who is our youth minister at Restoration Life Church, who's done our invocation in the past. He notified me of the passing. So just asking that we close in his memory.
Okay. So ordered, we're closing his memory tonight. Okay, with that, the next regularly scheduled meeting of the Lawndale City Council will be held at 6:30 p.m. Monday, August the 3rd. And with that, we are adjourned.
Robert, I said 7:20.
Yeah, let's see who came. Well, yeah, you came closest. Yeah.
I didn't say
I said 7.
I said 7. Okay.
That's pretty good.